ladies and gentlemen, to Season 4 of the Boomtown Pod, your home for combat sports. Covering the latest news, information, and so much more in the world of combat sports. From boxing to mixed martial arts and professional wrestling, we've got you covered. Join Andrew Kahn, Cole Smith, and their special guests as they break down everything that you missed out on or need to know. Season 4, sponsored by FKN Beer Company. FKN, the funnest beer out there. Keeping the good times rolling one beer at a time. Grab your FKN Ale and FKN Booms, available at select liquor stores in Canada. Rest When Dead Clothing. Locally owned and operated with the very best in gym apparel. Check out restwhendead.ca or visit them in Moose Jaw at Hustle Culture Gym, 268 High Street West. Sandman Boxing System in Saskatoon, proudly representing since day one. Time now to go live for Season 4 of the Boomtown Pod, and it starts now.
You betcha, as the mighty old man Bruce Buffer once said, we are alive. Hope you guys had a great Sunday so far. Hope you had a great weekend. And also, I got the green on. Happy St. Patrick's Day to all my Irish drinking friends out there today. Be safe, okay? If you need a ride, just maybe call one of us. I don't know, something like that. But anyways, nonetheless, we're so happy to have you guys here today. This is the Boomtown Pod, Season 4, Episode 12. We got a very special guest in the building. He's going to be joining us very, very quickly. But, of course, got to do the introductions. I am, of course, Andrew Kahn, your host, and joined with my co-host, Cole Sandman Smith, all the way out of Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. How the hell are you doing today, brother?
Good, man. Always good. Always good. And better when I get to see you, Andrew.
Man, you don't have to flirt with me. I know it's Irish. I mean, little kiss me, I'm Irish. I like that stuff going on right now. But yeah, man, we are happy to have you back. Of course, Season 4 has been a great season so far with you by our side. So glad you could be with us again, man. This, again, you heard the big voice earlier, Don Andrews, one of the best in the business, giving us a little introduction for our sponsorship. And of course, it's been a big year for us in that aspect. We want to, of course, thank our guy over there, Mr. Cole Sandman Smith. Sandman Boxing System, been here since day one, so we appreciate you, brother. We cannot wait. April 13th, in case you guys forgot, UFC 300 is taking place in Saskatoon. Join us. We will be your hosts there, which is going to be amazing. At the West location, we've got a ton of giveaways, including some Sandman Boxing stuff, so make sure you guys are there. Very, very excited to have them. Of course, our other sponsors will be there as well. Flying all the way from Kamloops will be Kirk Ferkness of FKN Ale, owner. Can't wait to pick his brain. We're going to be doing a live pod with him there. Of course, FKN Ale. Get your booms and your ales. A little favoritism to the booms. They just posted a new commercial. Your boy's in that new commercial, so make sure to maybe check that out. Pretty exciting stuff over there. And of course, Rest When Dead Apparel, restwhendead.ca. Aaron York and the crew, the Reaper. You can see the logo in the background there. That is their clothing line. Make sure to check them out today. Great sale on right now. Actually, I was supposed to let everybody know about this too. It's buy one get one 50% off all merchandise with Rest When Dead clothing. Very, 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 very cool stuff. Of course, they're doing big things out there. Got some huge names on their roster like Cody Deaner from TNA Wrestling and Max Charles, an official Mr. Olympia. So that's pretty damn cool itself. But without further ado, this podcast today is a very special one. We are joined by a very special guest today. And man, we have been amped about this one. You guys have been amped about this one on our socials for a long time. I am, of course, introducing our very special guest today, Ryan Real Deal Ford. Ryan, how you doing, man?
Yo, what's up, guys? How you doing, man?
We're stoked. So for those that might not know, you and Cole have actually known each other for a while.
Yeah, it's been a minute.
Yeah, we kind of got to know each other through the amateur scene.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Which is pretty cool. Now, speaking of amateurs, obviously Cole out in Saskatoon training with Sandman Boxing System has a lot that he trains through. So with that, he's got some rapid fire Q&A for you through the gym. So Cole, take her away, brother.
All right, thank you, Andrew. Ryan, long time no see.
Yeah. Last weekend.
Yeah. I was kind of just chatting with a bunch of my guys, letting them know I was hopping on here with you, and they they kind of gave me some questions to give you. So
Yeah.
we'll start with that. Get to know you a little bit. Uh, and the first one was where did Real Deal come from?
It actually came from some guys. I used to train. I got a little bit of trouble, back in the day, and I ended up going away for a little bit. But it was my goal that when I got out, that I was going to fight. Whether it was boxing or mixed martial arts, I didn't know until the Ultimate Fighter came on the little 14-inch TV, and then I was like, you know what, I'm going to try the MMA. But it was every day I was just training, and guys just kept coming up to me and they're like, bro, you're the real deal. Like, man, you're the real deal. And then I was just like, it just stuck, everybody kept calling me it. And I was like, I love the Vander Holyfield. So I was like, hey, you know what? Let's adopt it.
Nice. That's awesome. That's really cool, man. I I I think it's probably a question you get often, right?
Yeah, everybody asked me how, I got the real deal name and whatnot. Did I make it myself? And I always tell guys, I'm like, no, I'm like, man, I'm like, when you fight, I'm like, you don't give yourself your own nickname. I'm like, it comes, like people
Right.
will start saying things right after fights, after training. And I'm like, because back in the day, I always had some guys be like, yo, man, should my nickname be this? And I'm like, bro, you don't give yourself your nickname. I'm like, the people give you the nickname.
Yes. Yes. That's awesome. And speaking of Evander, that's another question that popped up. What are your three favorite boxers to watch from the past and your three favorite to watch currently?
Okay, well, from the past, I would have to say, my favorite is Marvin Hagler.
Nice.
I would say Hagler. Um, I would say Sugar Ray Leonard and Muhammad Ali. You know, I always loved Tyson because there was going to be knockouts, right? But I just wish he would have knocked out, some big names.
Right. Yeah.
um, and then present, I would have to say I like Gervonta Davis. Um, man, I just watched that kid last night too.
Tank.
What's his name? He's a 135er. William Zapata.
Mm,
This kid at 135. I watched his fight last night, and this kid's a beast. I'd like to see him up there with the top 135ers. Maybe even whoever wins between Lomachenko and Kambosa. Um, and then I would have to say I like man, the two guys, in the light heavyweight division. I like Better Beef and I like Bivol.
who do
So,
you like in that one? Who's coming out on top?
man, see, for me in the fight, it either comes out one way or comes out the other. It comes out Better Beef by knockout or it comes Bivol by decision.
Right.
Just because I don't think, well, for one, Bivol hasn't faced a puncher like Better Beef, and Better Beef hasn't faced a volume puncher like Bivol. Like Bivol starts the first round with that volume and ends the last round with the same type of volume. So yeah,
Right.
that's man, I can't wait to see that fight. And you know what? I love it that the Saudis they're putting these fights together. Because
Yeah.
at the end of the day, with boxing, it's about money.
100%.
Money though, man.
It's honestly it's the fight I want to watch. That's the one. I
That's
actually went back and I watched all of Better BF's fights from his
yep.
first one all the way through. And man, do I love his style.
Bro, he's a beast. Like that's one guy that I sparred with that I was actually intimidated to spar, you know? And like, man, I've sparred with everybody, like the UFC champ, George St. Pierre, like Rory McDonald, like, Lucien Boutte, like Elder Alvarez, all these guys. But man, it was just different getting in the ring with Better Beef. He brings that different type of energy, right? And
Yeah.
but the most humblest guy outside of the ring. You know, when it's in time in the ring, you know, it's on. You know, but after the ring, after like I'll tell you right now, my whole fight career, he's the only guy who's wobbled me in sparring.
Mm,
And I was like, man, like it's power in
Oh
both hands.
wow.
It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable.
that's uh that's funny because that was the next question was the hardest shot you've taken, as well as in all your fights, what's the punch that you've landed cleanest?
So the shot that the hardest punch that I ever taken, I'll tell you right now, was from Better Beef. His last camp when they brought me in for sparring. He was fighting Joe Smith Jr. I was there
Mm,
for that camp. Um, and man, like you know, so with his camp, it's 3 minutes 30 seconds is the time, and we'll go 12 rounds, but there's four guys. One guy goes in one round, next guy goes another round. So there's a fresh guy every round for him. And he wears 18-ounce gloves in sparring.
mm,
So as the rounds start getting more, he starts picking up the pace, right?
Ooh.
And so before sparring, I thought, you know, I was like, okay, I'm probably going to be like third. So, you know, I'll get warmed up after the first guy goes in, you know. But, you know, I was slowly warming up. And then right away, Mark's like, okay, Ford, you're in first. And I was like, oh, shit, I wasn't that warm, you know? Like, and so, you know, whatever. First, like 30 seconds of the round's going, you know, and all of a sudden, Fricky comes forward. He throws what was it? I think it was a jab cross, and then he just reset, and then he came around with the hook with those hooks that he catches guys behind the head.
Ooh.
And bro, he hit me, and all of a sudden my leg like did this little whoop, like, and I was like, shit. But right away, poker face, right, hands up, come forward, and man, after that round, I got out, and my coach Jesse was like, he's like, bro, he's like, you okay? And I'm like, yeah. I'm like, fuck, that was the first time I've ever felt like that. I was like, you know, and then after that, you know, I finished up my rounds because I was there for 10 days and I did 33 rounds with him. And I'm telling you, it
man,
was like the best experience you can have. And but after that, when he wobbled me after that, after sparring, Mark comes up to me and he goes, Ryan, he goes, man, he's like, you are tough. And I'm like, yeah. He's like, he caught you. He's like, but you come forward. I'm just like, man. I'm like, that's just the way that I am, you know. And he
yeah,
goes, most guys who show up for sparring with Better Beef, they come one sparring session, and they ask for a flight back home.
dang.
Yeah. So yeah, man, it was intense. It was legit, and man, and now like you know, just being in there with him, sharing the ring with him, like 33 rounds in 10 days. It I know why he's 17-0 with 17 knockouts. Like this guy's another level.
Right. Yeah, that's a cool thing to have on the resume. You know, like
Yeah,
that's wild.
you know, and it was awesome because I was getting ready for my for an MMA fight, and they called me up and it's for sparring, and I was like, well, can't get any better sparring than with Better Beef. Nobody's
Yeah,
gonna hit me like him, you know.
definitely.
Yeah.
That's cool, man. And lately you've been traveling lots for your fights. You know, you've been going to Russia, to Germany, to Poland, Thailand. Like you've kind of been everywhere. And I was just wondering, who, where do you like to go the most? Which was like the most welcoming place that you went to?
Man, you know what? Honestly, I like Russia.
Nice.
You know, I've been all over Russia. I think I've been there 5 times. Like I've been in Moscow. Well, my first world title fight was in Siberia, Russia, against Fedor Chudanov.
Mm,
You know, so like that's like, you know, always heard of Siberian tigers, you know, of Siberia, but I was like, man, you know what? I've actually been to Siberia now. You know, and I've been south of Russia too, in Krasnodar, which is warm. So like literally, we got off the plane in Moscow, and it was like minus 17 or minus 18, and then like literally a 2-hour flight to Krasnodar. I was outside running in a sweater and shorts. It was like plus 11 or plus 12. So yeah, so
What?
yeah, it's just so crazy. I was like, because you're more close to like Sochi, right? The south
Mm.
of Russia, so it's more warmer over there. But yeah, you know what? Every place that I fought in the world, whether it was Russia, England, Poland, Germany, um, everybody's welcoming. They're welcoming, especially when you're a fighter, like they call sportsmen. Like they love athletes over in those countries. It's just the judges don't like it when you're not from their country.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's it's the it's the craziest part of our sport. Like not just countrywide. It's like city-wise. It's province-wise. It's just like how do you how do you fix that?
Man, you know what? In boxing, this has been going on since my dad's era, the '70s. So I, I don't really think there's a way to fix it. I think
Yeah,
boxing is just going to be that way, and that's how it is. And just for upcoming fighters getting into the boxing, they just need to understand that before the sport of boxing, it's a business.
right.
Boxing is a business once you get to the professional level, because once you get to the professional level, now money's involved, and when money's involved, then it becomes business. And once that big money is involved, it's very good business
Yeah,
for usually one side.
yeah, yeah.
That's the A side.
Um, and then I got one last question to kind of to finish this off is kind of like your personal experience from competing to coaching. For myself, it's way worse when I'm coaching. Like not having that control is tough for me. But for you, you've kind of fought on the main stage a handful of times, and that's got to be wild, right? And just that comparison to your coaching, what's worse for you?
um Yeah, the fighting's a lot easier because I'm in control. If I want to throw a jab, I'm gonna throw a jab. If I'm gonna throw a 1-2, I'm gonna throw a 1-2. Sometimes it's hard in the coaching, and I tell this to our fighters at the gym, like, I'm here to coach. I'm not a cheerleader and I'm not a water boy.
Mm.
So the things that I'm saying to you in the corner, you need to do them, because if you don't do them, there's no reason of me being in the corner. I've had, like, that's the thing, is like, especially in the fight game, um, the fighters need to understand that we're there for a reason. We're on the outside seeing what you don't see. And I know that because I've been in the ring fighting, having to worry about the fight, but I'm not seeing things that my coach is seeing. That when I come back to the corner, he's telling me, "Hey, this is what's happening. This is what you need to do." Now, you need to, as a fighter, you need to trust your coach for one, and adapt to those situations going on into the fight. Whereas, if you're not going to listen, why am I in the corner?
Right.
Like, and you know what, I've had it one time, and hopefully it's the only time that ever happens. Is one fighter from our gym, I was in his corner a few times, and I've telling him to do things, and he's not listening. And so after the one last fight, I just told him, I said, "Listen, bro," I said, "I'm not here as a cheerleader." I said, "I'm not here as your water boy." I said, "I'm here as a coach." I said, "So, when I tell you to do things, I don't expect you to do it right away, because obviously the other guy hears." I said, "But there is, at some point in this fight, you have to do this. Now, if I'm yelling out for you to do something and you're not going to do it, I'm going to go take a seat at the front row and I'm going to watch, because
Mm.
you don't need me." And I had to do that to one of the fighters, to actually let them know, like, I've explained to you already, I'm not a cheerleader, I'm not a water boy. So if you're not going to listen to me, I'm going to go and sit and and hey, go ahead, do what you got to do because you're not listening to me anyways. So that's one thing that I have, the hardest about the coaching side, right? It's like, I got to remember that everybody's not me, you know?
Yeah.
And, but it's also too is, when you're coaching, you have to have that right fighter, you guys got to communicate with each other. You got to believe in each other. You got to trust in each other because in boxing with a coach, like my coach said to me, when we first started fighting, when we're going and traveling and stuff, he said, Ryan, he's like, you know what? He's like, my main focus in this fight is obviously we come to win. He's like, but my main focus with you is making sure that I get you back home to your wife and family. I don't care about the win. Like, we come here to win, but I care about you getting home safe to your wife and kids because that's on me as a coach, right? And that's one thing that I like to tell fighters as well too. Like, listen, if there's something that we see, you know, if I have to stop a fight, I have to stop a fight. I don't care about you sucking it up and being tough and winning this fight. I care about you going back home to the people who love you. And that's what a
Yeah.
coach is there for, right? You see some coaches in the corners that some guys have their friends as coaches, and stuff like that. And it's like, man, if they don't know the fight game, they need to understand, like, this is every time that we step in that ring or the cage, we are risking our life. It could be one punch from not fighting ever again.
Yeah. Yeah. That's all like really good. I know for me, I'm still a baby in the coaching world. It's only been 4 or 5 years that I've actually been coaching. So all of this is really I'm gonna take this in because that's all great uh, great points you're making there, Ryan. Um, what's something you would say to a newer coach, kind of moving forward? I think you've been in the game for quite a while.
Yeah, and and me too. I'm new at this coaching stuff too, right? But I've been coached by some, my coach Jesse Thompson. When we got together, he's a lot younger than me, but very knowledgeable in the sport of boxing. Like I always said when we met each other, I think he was 24 or something. Now he's like 30 something. But it was just like I looked at his age and I was like, no, I'm like, man, I'm like, this is a 24-year-old guy with like a 65-year-old boxing knowledge put in him.
Right.
Like that's what it was. But for me is like for the coaching thing is a coach's dream is to have somebody that you don't have to babysit. You know, they know like I don't have to worry about you running. I don't have to worry about you recovering. I don't have to worry about you doing these things that don't consist of us training. When I'm
Mm.
training, I know that you're there, we're training. But when you leave this gym, you need to be putting in the work by yourself as well, not just only at the gym, right? And so the biggest thing that I could say to coaches is I tell coaches, to tell these fighters at the end of the day, what you get is what you put in. I'm not going to give my 100 if you're only giving 50,
Right.
right? So, yeah, and to me, for a coach, you need to be like stern. I'm not sugarcoating nothing because boxing, mixed martial arts, combat sports is not something to be sugarcoated. I'm not going to tell you be your yes man, because this is a sport where people get hurt. So, you know what? I'm sorry if you don't like me being real with you, telling you, what I think, because I've been there maybe one or two times. Um, I have to be real with you, or else if I don't, then I shouldn't even be your coach because I see some coaches, that will just throw guys into fights that aren't ready. And, that's one thing. It's like you're only hurting the kid, like my ego, like I don't care about my ego. I done what I done, but I want to make sure that I'm giving the best opportunity to this kid, for him to further his career and not get discouraged away from boxing. As you've probably seen some guys who should not be in the ring in amateur boxing, and they're in the ring, and it's just like, why? Like, now you're going to turn this kid off from boxing.
Right. Yeah. You you see it more than you should.
Yeah, yeah,
You
for
know,
sure.
um, especially like even like you said, like with like the friends in the corner and things like that. Um, it's very hard to in Saskatoon over here. It's a pretty small. The boxing world's pretty small over here. It's a hard place to find a coach that you mesh with. That's it's one of the issues I've had. You know, finding a coach that can be there for me. Uh, you know, the way I need a coach to be. And because it's a small city and a small province, I think it's a little bit of trouble for everyone.
Oh man, 100%, right? And that's the thing, is because it's getting that quality of a coach as well too. Like, if you take me for an example, my whole mixed martial arts career, I never had a coach. I was my coach. I had gyms, I had training partners, and there was a coach at the gym that would help run drills and stuff, but um I never had a legit coach. Even when I transformed from mixed martial arts to boxing, I'm like, I never had a coach. I was at the gym, Milan would be at the gym there, he would give me pointers, but like I was just always that guy that just went in and busted my ass in the gym and put in the work. And I never got a coach until I believe I was like six, 7 fights in of
Mhm.
my boxing career, right? Till I actually had a coach who structured my training, you know, and that I trusted to become a coach. Like, I just never had, because that's the one thing too, is like, somebody can go out and get a coach, like there's coaches everywhere, right? But it's like, is that the right coach that fits you, right? Do
Right.
you fit that coach, and does that coach fit you? Because this is the thing I tell people. I'm like, when I'm flying across the world, like, we're going to war. I don't want to have weak guys or people that don't know nothing go to war with you. You want to have those guys that have the knowledge and everything, that, so that you feel comfortable when you're in there, right? And you will get that from your coach.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. That's okay, well, moving on from the Q&A, uh the next thing we kind of wanted to chat about was BKFC. For that was like such a wild experience to be there, to be a part of that, kind of see something run like so well as well. I'm used to amateur, don't know what's going on half the time. You know, to see something run so on point, and you kind of don't have to think about anything. They tell you what to do, where to go. It was a cool thing to be a part of, kind of a bigger showcase like that. And yeah, you had a huge show out there. 3 for 3. Uh, you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, yeah. So before the BKFC came here, I got reached out from a friend from the United States asking me, if I would be interested in holding the bare knuckle tryouts at the gym at Wolf House,
Right.
with Chris Lydell and those guys. And I said, man, this would be awesome. I'm like, for sure, if you guys are coming here, I'm like, we're the gym you guys want to come to. So me and Parvez, we held the tryouts at the gym, and, 3 of our guys made the cuts, Drew, Chad, and Hassan. And, ever since after that tryouts, these guys were locked in. We started training a different style because, like, it's not boxing.
Right.
I tell people, you can't think it's boxing, because for one, you start right close. There is no walking up to meet each other in the ring. You're meeting in the middle, and most of the time, punches are getting thrown right away as soon as they say fight. So, we me and Parvez, we trained those three guys up, the best of our abilities, with the knowledge that we have, and man, yeah, we came out on top, 3-0. Hassan had the knockout of the night. I think they're almost saying like, it's a candidate for knockout of the year. I wish it was little later on, not so early in the year, right? But
Yeah.
the guys went out there, they put on a show, and we went 3-0.
Yeah, I think that guy might still be laying there today.
Yeah, well, actually, I saw a post. He was in the hospital. I guess he broke one of his hands, and then he did something to his face. But you know, I, that's what I was telling the guys before the BKFC. I said, guys, you need to understand one thing about this sport. It is the rawest form of combat sports you're gonna get, where
Yeah.
when you hit, hurts, and when you get hit, it hurts.
Right.
So you need to be ready, right? I said, because the knuckles don't feel like a 10-ounce glove or a 4-ounce MMA glove.
Yeah, and it's wild. The room for mistakes is zero.
Zero room for mistakes, especially when you were fighting in that 16 foot ring. Like, I couldn't believe it when I got in there. I was just like, damn, like this is the type of ring that I'd like to fight, because guys can't run.
Right. Yeah, 2 steps and your back's on the
On the
rope.
rope. Yeah, on the cable, because it's not even a bouncy rope either. It's like it's a wall.
Yeah, that's what. So we had a guy on the amateur,
Yeah.
and that's exactly what happened to him. He performed well in the first round, came out, and he got stuck on that cable. And it had no give like he's used to. So
Yeah.
when he went to go back, he didn't go back, and he got tagged, and then he paid for it. Yeah, it's just the whole atmosphere. Yeah, it's wild. It was crazy night.
Oh yeah, it was. Hey man, when 10 fights end with 10 knockouts,
Yeah,
it was a good night.
yeah. So are your guys? Are they waiting for the next one, or are they doing some pro boxing? What do you got for those guys?
Yeah. So man, that was the one thing about it. Actually being there and seeing it, in person. Man, for me, like, I love the sport because it's the rawest you can get, but you will not have a long career,
Right.
in fighting, right? Like, if you look, Hassan, he's going to be out probably another month or so because of his hand. He never broke it. It looked like it was broken,
And looked
but
bad.
he never broke it. And then you got then Hassan, he had to get, I think, 8 stitches in his eye. Drew, both his hands were fine, but he had 12 stitches in his face. Chad was actually the only guy who got out untouched like it was a boxing fight.
Right.
So, I had a talk with them, and like, these guys are still young. Like, I think Drew's 24, Chad's 24, Hassan's 24. And I told them, I'm like, you guys, honestly, I'm like, by the time you start making big money in BKFC, it'll probably be about 5 fights in. I said, but that 5 fights in, how long is it going to take you to get those 5 fights? I said, because Hassan, I said, the way that you throw your punches, you're going to break your hand every fight.
Right.
I said, so what? You're fighting 2 times a year, making, $4,000. I was like, it's, for me, it's not worth it, right? What we are going to do is, I'm going to talk about the Real Combat League.
Mm-hmm.
But what we're going to do is, so with Real Combat League, I'm starting Real Combat Boxing. Now, Real Combat Boxing is going to be almost like bare knuckle, but you're wearing 4-ounce MMA gloves, right? So now you're saving your hands and you're saving your face from getting cut up. Like, you probably still will get cut up with MMA gloves, but not after one punch from a knuckle, right? And, at least when you punch two, it's not going to hurt because you have that little bit of padding. but we're going to make it 5 2-minute rounds where, the pace is still going to be that high pace. And, taking a minute off of a traditional boxing round, you can explode a lot more. So,
Definitely.
so May 17th, Chad and Drew will be making their Real Combat Boxing pro debuts. Hassan, unfortunately, he's going to have to wait. I know he's probably pissed off that he can't do it, but
Yeah.
he's got to heal up that hand, and once it gets better, he'll be back in the mix as well.
Yeah, and so what does I guess the sanctions look like for that? I know for you, are you looking at doing like each event will be that specific, or are you trying to get a couple different in one event, or is
Yeah,
that kind of a
so
hassle?
Yeah, so that's the deal. So that's the thing with Real Combat League. I wanted to give all combat sports fans, fights in one night, under one roof. So May 30th is our first Real Combat League Prospect Series, where it's amateur Muay Thai. It'll be a full
Mhm.
amateur Muay Thai fight card with, I believe, 5 full rules. So, you know, it's crazy because once I got into watching the amateur Muay Thai, I was like, after 3 fights, it's full rules, 10-ounce gloves, no shin guards, no headgear, and just elbow pads. I was like, what? I'm like, this is unbelievable. I'm like, man, this is pretty much a pro fight. So and I just saw like how entertaining it was, and it's bringing that different crowd of people in to watch. So we locked down our date. May 17th is the first Real Combat League, and that will consist of professional boxing with your traditional 10-ounce gloves. We will have professional Muay Thai, but with 4-ounce gloves.
Mm,
And we will start the Real Combat Boxing League. Now, the Real Combat Boxing is we're going to make it as a full league. So we're going to get the weight divisions and champions in those leagues for the Real Combat Boxing. Um, and then as well is, because, I come from an MMA background, and, I know a lot of guys who like jujitsu. And it's funny, one of my friends, Ethan, he's the combat jujitsu world champion. So we're going to bring in, because I had to name it something different, we're calling it slap jitsu. So it is your traditional Brazilian jiu-jitsu, but with open hand palm strikes.
nice.
Okay.
So it makes it exciting, right? I
Yeah.
always I always told people, I was like, I know a lot of people who don't like the jiu-jitsu game just because of guys will stall. Guys will sit in the guard and just hold, or they'll sit on a leg and just hold the leg to try to wait. Well, when somebody's slapping the shit out of you, you ain't gonna be holding.
Right. Right.
you know so it's gonna make it more exciting. And you'll get you'll get the straight jiu-jitsu players that are want to get involved, but you'll also get a lot of MMA guys who got good jiu-jitsu and wrestling that like to strike.
And have and are used to getting striked, used to
That's
getting hit, and so they can kind of handle that part of the game
Yeah.
a bit more.
Yes, and the way to win in this is either by submission or knockout.
Nice. That's really
Yeah.
cool.
Cool.
I know I know since this BKFC has been, kind of popped its head in here. I got a couple guys that are kind of interested talking about it, but man, this sounds a lot. The
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 longevity.
4-ounce gloves, yeah, for the longevity for sure. I think that's definitely something I'm gonna chat with them about.
Yeah,
That's
yeah, brother. We got you guys over here. You guys want to get on fights and stuff like. So that's the thing is, I'm trying to change the combat game around here as well too. Because you go to a lot of boxing shows here, and you always see the one-sided fights, right? I understand it's the boxing business of trying to build the fights and stuff, but you know, I was the guy who fought anybody, anywhere, anytime. You know, from my first fight to my last fight, like and with Real Combat League is I want guys who want to fight. You know, for one, this is a fighters first organization, so you know we're not an organization where the promoters are just making money off of these fighters' backs, where the promoters have never been punched in their face, where the promoters have never lost a fight. They don't know how fighters feel. I've been there. I've done it all around the world, 2 different sports. I know what fighters want and what we like to feel comfortable. And, you know, if you lose a fight, I'm not the guy who writes you off.
Right.
Where most promoters, you lose a fight, they just write you off onto the next one. They don't understand. Like every fighter's gonna
You're done.
lose. Like every fighter's gonna lose. I don't care. Like the only fighters that never lose are the fighters that pick all their fights. So I want guys who want to come and fight and put on a show. And you know what? We're going to give guys, good percentage of their ticket sales, so some guys who sell more tickets will probably make more money than what their purse is because they're selling tickets, right? You might be the third guy on the fight card and making more money than the main event because you bring more people to the table, so
You brought
that's
you
one
brought
thing
you
with
brought
our
bums in the seats, man.
organization. Pardon me?
Oh, it's like you bring the bums in the seats, right? Get rewarded for it.
That's 100% right, and that's the thing is I've always been that guy. I always knew that you have to bring something to the table, right? It's like a lot of fighters just thinking, oh, I'm a good fighter, I deserve this. I'm like, yes, you're a very good fighter, but you don't bring anything with that good fighting ability. And nowadays it's about putting people in the seats, being talkative, gathering that crowd, that's that's one thing that I'm teaching our fighters as we give this platform for them to fight. That guys, you need to sell yourself. You are your business.
Right.
I'm like, you can make money off of your fight, but you can make so much more money off of
Yeah.
sponsorship.
Yeah. That's cool. It really sounds like you've put a lot of thought into this, like kind of all the different aspects and areas. And obviously with your experience, you probably experienced the good side of business, the bad side of business, the ups, the downs, and it's you're kind of putting that all together and you learned and probably a lot of the time the hard way. But I guess how long has this been an idea, and when did you start kind of putting it into place?
Yeah, well, it's been man. Well, we've been throwing the amateur boxing shows with the Real Deal Promotions, I think, for a couple of years now. And we this has been the plan. For the past few years, me and Parvez, we've had this plan. It's just early on when we were doing the amateur boxing cards and stuff, is I was still like really active in fighting, so
Right.
it was so much on Parvez to do by himself, whereas now it's coming, I got a few fights left in me, and it's now I'm just taking all that drive and motivation that I've had, to put in towards my training camps. I'm going to put this towards the promotion. And, like I said, I watched from that movie Field of Dreams. If you build it, they'll come. And our first professional show that we had there with Ben Alvarez in the main event. We had the mixed card, mixed Muay Thai and professional boxing. Like we had to turn away 150 people. Give back 30 refunds on tickets, and I was just like, man. I said, you know what? I told Parma, I said, bro, if we build it, they will come. And you know what? It's we're learning though, like because from coming from the fighter to, to now becoming the promoter, it's hard for me. And Parvis says to me too, he's like, bro, he's like, you still have that fighter in you, he's like, it's always that, like he goes, but Ryan, you got to understand. He's like, most of these guys aren't like you, because when I'm talking to guys about setting up a fight and they're trying to tell me, and I'm like, nah, bro. I'm like, come on. I'm like, you know who you're talking to here?
Yeah. So what do you what is the future for you for the combat side? Are you looking to step in the boxing ring, doing some more MMA? Uh, Sounds probably not like a bare knuckle anytime soon.
Yeah, no. So for the MMA, I'm retired from MMA. I should have retired before my last fight. After I fought that Rob, before I knocked out and I won the belt. After that fight, I should have retired instead of taking the next fight. But it's that fighter in you. You're always man. I'm 42 now, but it's still I still feel and want to fight like I'm 26.
Yeah.
So the mixed martial arts aspect of my life is I put that away just because I feel whatever you're in, especially in combat sports, you have to be 100% in, and I wasn't 100% in with the training of wrestling and grappling. It was just something I just
Right.
did it for so many years. I'm just like, man, and for one, it's the most taxing on your body as well. Is the wrestling and the grappling. So mixed martial arts, I'm done with that. You know what? I did what I had to do in that combative sport. But boxing, I still got a few more boxing fights in me. It's something that I dedicated my life to the past 7 years, and I still feel that I still got a few fights in me, but the proper fights. I'm at that point where I am in my career now. It's like I don't have to go and fight that 26-year-old volume puncher who's, like, for what? I've done what I've had to do in the boxing game. Now
Right.
it's we have our card May 17th, and then on Tuesday we should be locking down this deal with a new venue, and so you'll probably be seeing me fight hopefully in June. Um,
Oh, nice.
you know,
Awesome.
so but these next few fights for me, um, you know, I'm not I'm not gonna I'm not gonna bring in like a Mexican guy that I could come and just beat. Like, that's not where I'm at now. Um, Pretty much for me is, like what I see out there right now is people just want to see, two named fighters fight each other, and the people. So, for that show, that when we lock down this deal in that venue, we're gonna bring in a big name that everybody knows. It might not be a boxer, it might be an MMA guy who fought the UFC. But we're gonna put on the 10-ounce gloves, and may the best man win that night. And take it from there. And
And
if
that
BKFC offers me 100 G's, hey, I'm down.
yeah, that's awesome, man. That's really cool. You know, I, your fights are you're an explosive fighter, and it's fun to watch. It's always been fun to watch and kind of just see you um the way you just come out and you just keep coming. That's I love that, man. That's exactly what I think about when I think about boxing. Those are the kind of fighters that I really appreciate and I love to watch and I love to mimic. Is that go 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 mentality, and you're definitely one of those.
Thanks, brother. Thanks, man. Yeah, I was always the guy that if I'm a fighter, I'm gonna come to fight. Like I was never the guy who want to play it safe. Want to try to outpoint my guy. Try. like every fight that I have fought, I never want to go to a decision. Like, it's the way that I like to fight. I like my fights to be entertaining. It's just what I do, right? And for me, sometimes I feel that in a few fights that I've had, that my opponent um, lacks the aggression for me to bring the fight to me. So, I got to do things to make it exciting. Like the fight where I fought that Curtis Melinder here in Edmonton, and they robbed me on the decision in Edmonton, which was unbelievable. Um, that was actually the first fight that I fought with emotion, right? And I didn't fight the best, but I did fight. I won that fight 100%. I don't understand what anybody was watching, but that's one thing that I could say in all of my fights. I have never fought on emotion, and that fight I fought with emotion, and I just wanted to hurt this guy, and it threw my game right off.
That's well, I think it'd be cool to line something up and bring some of my guys out and work with you, and even myself, I would love to come and work with you and learn from you, and I'm looking at finally recovering and boxing again, but by the end of the year, I'd really like to be doing pro fights. I'd love to come out there sometime and just learn from you, work with you, and kind of pick your brain some more.
Yeah, brother. Anytime, man. Anytime, and anytime I come out that way, man, I'm down to stop by the gym too, and do whatever we can do, and yeah, especially have you guys out on the fight card. You guys have a home at Real Combat League. Whether guys want to box or they want to do the Real Combat boxing. Yeah, man. And anytime, just let me know, and we'll make things happen.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, well, thanks for taking some time out of your Sunday to hop on here with us, man. And I just wanted to uh just say, like, you've been around for a while, and you I think your show in Edmonton was one of the first I was at when I first kind of got into the boxing scene. And honestly, from day one, meeting you and getting to know you over the years, and you're one of those guys who kind of comes off with a hard exterior, but you're super humble and always kind, always looking to help people. And I just wanted to show my appreciation, man, for you and kind of what you've done for the sport and combat as a whole in Canada. Your presence is very appreciated, and I'm super grateful to have gotten to know you over the years, man.
Hey, brother, much respect, man. As I always tell people all the time, I may look like, like some people are like, kind of intimidated to come talk to me and whatnot. But you know what? I always tell people, I'm like, man, you haven't signed a contract to fight me. There's nothing to worry about. Come up, man. We'll shake hands. We'll laugh together.
Right.
And it's just, I'm just a guy. I just keep it real. It's just me. And, I just want to give back to the next generation of fighters coming up. I've been all around the world, fought. I've had so many experiences with ups and downs and this and that. Yeah, man. If anybody ever has, something they want to ask, questions or whatnot, if I'm always active on my Instagram, you can send me a message. I always reach back out to people. That's the thing with me, right? I never let the fame get so far to my head where it's like, because I know everybody out there that follows me, listens to me, watches me. They're the ones who made me make it, right? Because without all those people, there would be no fighting. There would be none of us stars.
Yes, well, thank you, man. And I guess just to end this, let people know where they can find you, how they can follow you, and if you want to give a shout out to your promotion events, just feel free.
Yeah. No, you guys can hit me up on Instagram at Ryan the Real Deal Ford. I got the Real Combat League on Instagram, Real Deal Promotions, and Wolf House YEG. You guys, we're on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Our next fight card is March 30th at Midway Music Hall. And then the pro show will be May 17th at Enoch Community Center. So, we will be looking for some fighters to compete. So if you guys are out there looking to catch a fight in either real combat boxing, Muay Thai, even slap jiu-jitsu, hit me up and we can make something happen.
Awesome, man. And if you're ever looking for a commentator, the man Andrew here, he's the man.
All right. Well, hey, bro, we're always yes, we are looking. So yeah, man, we might have to bring you up for the next show.
I'll slide in those DMs, Ryan.
Yeah.
Awesome, Ryan. Well, I'll let Andrew wrap this up and have a good rest of your day.
All right, brothers. You guys too.
Well, that's going to wrap us up today. Man, what a crazy cool interview. I let Cole take the reins. It's like the biggest thing. I'm so happy for Cole in this aspect right now because this is something that he's wanted to do for so long and line this up. So this was really, really cool to have you do it, brother. Of course, that was our guest, Ryan Real Deal Ford. Of course, you can follow him on his socials as he listed before. And again, man, one of the coolest guys in the game. I've always been a fan. It's even cool to get to meet him and hear his perspective on camps, training, all that other kind of stuff. Pretty cool guy, man, and just genuine. You don't find that a lot in these fight games anymore. And to be the real deal, the nickname fits. It's absolutely perfect. So with that being said, that's going to wrap things up for us today, guys. Once again, thank you to our sponsors, FKN Ale, RestWhenDead.ca, and of course, Sandman Boxing System since day one. That's going to wrap it up. Thank you guys so much for joining us today. We hope you have a great Sunday. Happy St. Patrick's Day, and drink a lot of green beer. Drink, responsibly.